Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our May edition of our Inclusion and Wellbeing Forum. As always, we welcome everyone. It is free and open access for all people who want to learn a little bit more about inclusion and well-being. We would ask that anyone, please don't talk about individual cases or schools, but if you have a general question, please feel free to ask. We ask that everyone keeps their mics on mute while we make our presentation, and I will check the chat for any questions that you have, and we can ask Susie either throughout or at the end of the session. We are all in the same boat together. While Susie and I offer advice and guidance, we equally take advice and guidance from everybody around, and always refer to your school's policy and your principal before you take any action, because what works in one setting may not work in another. We're recording the session, and all of the sessions are openly available to anyone on the YouTube channel, and I'll put that in the chat. So without further ado, we have the wonderful Suzie Hachez, who is the lead counsellor and clinical psychologist. She's with GEMS, and she's going to talk to us today all about comparison syndrome. Okay, Suzie.
Thank you. So welcome everybody. I think I chose this one to be for us as counselors, colleagues, and what's my next step. And as the month of May, it's the mental health month. I was just thinking that, you know, it's also good to look after ourselves. So I'm just, I've decided to speak about this because as many are moving to different jobs or different opportunities, it's just to understand sometimes that what are we going away, what are we looking for, and just to understand a little bit more about that. So as we speak about the comparison syndrome, we also speak about the social comparison theory, and it's called also in simple language, compare and despair. Why do we say compare and despair? It's sometimes that, you know, when you're looking for a certain kind of a job and then you see that, oh, your dream job is just being taken away by someone else, and you feel like that you were the perfect candidate, and what happened that we didn't get that place. So, so here that I am going to explain a little bit more. So as we said, a comparison syndrome, it's something that we learn as we are young. It's something that happens to us as we are kids and we are teens, and the more we develop and within the community, with the families, in school setting, all the social and all, it's giving you a sense of who you are, and also how do we see ourselves. That also develops your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So, which is very important. And the more we grow as being a teenager, and now even earlier than before it was at a teen, now we see more and more as pre-teens that we are also having a kind of what's my body image like? What is the image that I am giving back in the community? How are the people seeing me? And all these things matters a lot. So it's not something the way we are today. We shouldn't be looking at us as we are now, because we are on a evolution. But we have to go back to what we have been through to understand what are our strengths and weaknesses. So I have taken this from Lighthouse Arabia with their permission, and they were explaining so well if that, for example, if in a childhood you have had some very difficult moments or very high expectation from parents, you can develop the feeling of not being good enough. And then with the time, if nobody has said the opposite to you or reassured you by saying that you were good or you're doing well or you're amazing at this and that, well, you will develop a sense of worthlessness, and you will just feel that you are not good for anything, good at nothing, develop anxiety, stress, and then what it ends up like is that we start having comfort eating behavior, avoidance behavior, and things like that. We will try to work harder because we believe that if we put more, we will achieve better. We have this sense of perfectionism. Okay, you may have been on top, but it's very hard to stay on the top. So what is also what we need to think about is what triggers those reactions. So by making mistakes at work. So what happened? Okay, it can be genuine that because we didn't sleep enough, because we were careless. What is the reason? And all these things are very, very important, because we can feel like, how am I seen now? I made one mistake people will not trust me. We are very hard on ourselves, and we have to learn to let go a little bit. So that is the thing, that we are, our children, if you see now, and young colleagues of ours are a lot in overthinking and having negative thought of themselves, especially as Leslie was speaking now about having the inspection. People are doubting themselves. Am I good enough? Have I done enough? What if they see that my colleague is already there and I'm not that confident in that? So things like that. So there's a lot of negative thought towards ourselves that we are filling our cups with, which is leading us to feeling not good with ourselves. We hesitating ourselves. We are fearing. We are sad about not being able to. Lots of things. Lots of these feelings are coming in the way of our performance. It's, as we say, sometimes we just lose it in front of an inspector, for example. And if you would be in a normal class, well, you are just the queen of your class or the king of your class. But now that, because there is this big word of inspection coming up, we just lose the means of being as good as. So what it is also is that before we would get our validation from our parents, from family members, that you're doing so well, you're an amazing child, I'm impressed by this, that, and what the family said used to be so important. Today, it's less important for people and even us adults, because what we are looking at is we are all the time looking on LinkedIn. We are all the time looking on social media. We have all the news that's happening there. We don't know if it's fake or true. We hope in general, or on Twitter and things like that. And we all the time see that, oh my God, so-and-so is there. Oh my God, so-and-so is there. In a way, I'm just really, as we were saying, that we see the validation much more, it is sought in the community, much more than it was in the family. And look at now, even if we take back the thing of the action of Will Smith that has happened at the Oscars, and the doors that are getting closed to him, and what has happened, whatever our views are on it, it's such a big actor, such a known figure in the community, and with letting himself go without thinking, has created a lot of situations for him. And because it was seen in the community, look at how it is now within his own family. Not understood, saying that we never asked to do this, that, or whatever, and he's a little bit lost now. So, and it happens to us too. So what is also another thing that we have, and that's why it's important, I'm taking you through why it is important to understand ourselves and to know where we are in order to see what's best for us. One of the things that is also important, it's our emotional profile. And we know that we don't have one profile. We have a profile with different layers, which are made by our core values, with our tradition, with our education, with our beliefs, with our social interaction, with the continuous learning that we have, with the colleagues and all. And we change things. Sometimes someone is just able to change your views by sharing something, and our emotional profile changes. It's not something that is fixed. So when we are not heard or valued, we are feeling that we are not good at anything. And sometimes, how many times it passes, we know that we are very good in our jobs, but we would still want someone to come on your back and say, hey, you know what, that was really amazing. We all need this, even if we are the most amazing person in the job that we are doing. But it's very, very important to have that. So a hardworking staff or someone who is in a group setting and doing so well, but is not just recognized for the things that they are doing, well, it goes unseen. And then we feel like, nobody sees us. So we feel like, why continue? Why do this? So when we are for us in our jobs, it's always to look at yourself as where you are. And this is another thing that we say, which is also influencing our ways of thinking, is a tribal message that you've received. Now in Dubai, being a very cosmopolitan place, and where we are interacting with all kinds of nationalities and working in a team also, a very mixed background, it's sometimes very important to understand where our colleagues are coming from, because if we don't understand that, well, when we are leading a group, it's sometimes misunderstood, and they feel like, okay, I'm just going to shut up because they know more, and I'm not going to participate or give my ideas because anyways they're not expecting that I would have such kind of ideas. So, like we say, girls don't study because they're raised to be married. Those are the tribal messages that we used to have in the past. And today things are changing. And even here, I've been here for 25 years and we see how it changed. I remember when we arrived, the girls could not study and they were really fighting for that. So they started to open universities here where they would go, some of them to study, others would just to make abaya, to be busy till they would get married. Now it's changing, becoming very academic. And where we were speaking about men who were, when men are overestimated and women are underestimated, and we are fighting for it. We are speaking more and more about equity, being more equal, and things like that. But it's still man's world, unfortunately. So what are we seeing the signs of, when we speak about the comparison syndrome, what are the kind of signs that we need to look for? So as we know, the human nature, it is very aspirational. We are moving, and which is very good. So we are always drawn to success stories. We want to be like, even if you read stories as I didn't tell you that, but I'm a grandmother of 4 now. I have twins that came up last week. And when you tell this kind of stories, thank you.
I didn't know.
So when you have these kind of stories that we read, you can also see that, the children, when they start to understand, they are looking up to the characters in the books, and they feel like, I'm going to be like that one and I'm going to fight like that one. So it's already something that we are putting in the mind of a child since we are small. So when we feel that others are more successful than us, we compare. When the pay raise of the others is more important than yours, when we see that we're waiting for a kind of promotion and that it's just going under your nose, when you feel like jealous and anxious because you see other people succeeded. But before putting the fingers at others and looking at others, it's very important that we do the other way. So when we compare our life to other family members, and that's typical. Well, what I'm writing here is absolutely human. I'm seeing a lot of burnout, young men, young adults these days because of the COVID. They were still thinking that they needed to be maximizers. That means that they need to be producing. And now they have to live a life of satisficers. It's very difficult to make that transfer from maximizers to satisficers, where they could do, well, after my work, I will have a time for myself. So when in our family, we always also hear that, oh, have you heard that so-and-so has done so well? Have you heard about so-and-so? I know, and we don't share maybe that often our successes with our parents because we live away or what. And we feel like, well, I should have spoken maybe about ours. Then when we say also about fear of missing out, we always think about teenagers, but it's happening to us too, because we want to be out there. We want to be participating in all kind of trainings and all kind of talks and all, but it's not possible. We cannot be everywhere when we are leading a department. We cannot be so often out. So we need to start choosing what do we need. And as we say, and I believe in that a lot, that it's like you're making your own music, you're creating your own music. You cannot have all the tunes because it wouldn't work and it would sound very awful. But you would fine tune what you have in order to make a better music. And this is why you need to choose what is the training that you need in order to be better at something. For me, it would be cooking and computer skills. That's my always saying. But that's what we need to look at. What do we need to improve at? Because there's so much good in us, but we just don't see it because we are, as we say, we compare all the time and say, oh, if I would look more like Catherine, or if I would do that more like Leslie, if I would do that more like someone else, well, I want to have those things. But by taking from the others, I may not be able to deliver as well as they do. So it can ruin my purpose. So why do that? So we need to have those skills and have them at the base and develop them further. So how are these symptoms, how can these hurt your career? Well, as we are focusing so much on what's missing and we are comparing ourselves, instead of putting that same time into excelling, it's something that I am good at, but I need to be better at. Okay, so to be more productive. So we are creating a very toxic environment because we start to resent our colleagues. We start to resent our co-workers because, in the meeting, it's always the same people talking. I never get a chance to talk. So, we start having negative thought inside, and we say that if you want to say something, you say, no, I'm not just going to say because anyways, it's not going to be well seen. And at the end, it does, if we need to do a teamwork, and for us in the jobs that we do need to work with many kind of different colleagues. And if we are going to be resentful towards them because they don't work the way we want or what, well, we are not going to do a good job towards our clients or our students or our colleagues. So this is why it's very important to have a positive environment. It will lower our self-esteem. And I think that's the worst thing that could happen to us. And it will distract us from where we want to be. Okay, so it is true that as people and working in a school or whatever we have aims, and we have to re-evaluate those aims. And it's like resolution. Do I have everything to get there? What do I need? Is my short-term goal or is it my long-term goal? And those questions are very important because we cannot do changes overnight. So how to overcome these? Well, I'm going to give you different things. I'm going to tell you a little bit of 2 books that I've read about this. Now, it's very much like I love golf. I've started to play that and I really enjoy that because I have understood, not my husband yet, but I've understood that every time I play, I'm playing towards my own self. That what am I going to focus today? On my swing, on my putting, on what am I going to think about? My position, my arm, what is it? And my whole game of that will be just about that. And my husband is about swinging and getting the ball so far. And every time, but he's very unhappy because he said, oh, it goes this, goes that. They say, you're not thinking enough. Finally, I think he got it last Monday. And he's starting to say, I think I got it now. Let's see. But as I always say, and I think that's something I love, we do not compare potatoes and tomatoes. Okay, so who are you comparing yourself to? First of all, is your past the same? Is your education the same? Is your family background the same? Is your ethnicity the same? Is your, all these things matters. So that is why I always say you cannot compare potatoes and tomatoes. So when I say, when we compare colleagues to colleagues, even school counselor to school counselor, we are all very different and we have so much to give. So, all together, we can share so many good things, and our shortcomings can be filled by someone else's whose cup is full in case, hey, you know what, you can do this. So the more we share, the better it is. So what do? We have to identify our skills. What are we good at? There's once you put your list, you will see that how many good things we are at. When I arrived 25 years ago here, people were all the time talking about Latifa School and the Rashid School for Boys. Wow, the place to be, very difficult to get in. Oh, fantastic salary. They have amazing resources and blah, 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 blah. And we were like, oh yeah, well, no, there is no chance. Look at us today. It's so easy to get in. Resources, I think that every school has, if it's not equal, even better than. So, it's all about timing and about what other people has developed and in the different schools to be able to give as much as. But that has been fantastic. So what are your core values? What are your personal values? And what are your career values? They're not the same. Be careful. They're not the same. So please make sure that your values are identified. Okay. Also that you know what you have achieved. So what difference have you made? Now, I've worked 24 years in the same school for the same group. And I know that the day I'll go, it's going to be a big shoes to fill in, not because I'm saying it, but because I know it. I know how much I do. And that is why it's very important. So before I leave, what I'm going to make sure is that they know I'm leaving so that they can start getting someone who could shadow me and do things even better than me. But at least we will not drop off. So it's very important to know what difference have you brought in the company. So before we leave, it's also say, it's not only about the I, it's also say, okay, what I have, because when you go for job interviews, people do ask, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? But it's also important to do it in not only towards your intrapersonal skills, but also interpersonal skills. So both sides that we need to see. Where do you see yourself in 2 years, in 5 years? 10 years it may be far-fetched, But for me, 10 years for sure, I'll be retired. 5 years, maybe 2. But I go by year now because, yeah, being a grandma, wanting to enjoy everybody traveling, there are lots of things. We have done so much, and there's still so much to be done. So, what's the legacy? What is it that you are going to leave behind in your workplace? I know when I left the inclusion, how much I've left behind, and now every time if that was 3 years ago, and they keep on calling me back for my views, for guiding and all that. So I know that there's a big legacy that I've left behind, but I've developed a big legacy there about well-being now. And there's a lot of things that we have done. And same thing goes in your family. So we do not leave the same kind of legacy behind. As a human being, yes, but as a legacy that your work or the performance is completely different. So please look at that too. Yeah, that's a book that I would really advise you to read, and it's fantastic. I love Brené Brown. If you can follow her on YouTube, it's also good enough, but the books are so intense, and it really shakes you up by thinking about where you are. Sometimes there are passages that you need to read many times before it really sinks in. One of the things that she was saying, and which I really like, is when we go out, like when we speak, Catherine and myself, we're all the time saying this, we need to be our true self. When I speak about get naked there, it's get real. We are as real as we can be. We are not super people. We don't know more than you. We may know in certain areas even less than you, but it's just about sharing, about giving you the things where we have been, what make it easier for you in order to make it better for you. So it is very important to have people who would criticize you, and these critics are very important. If we are able to take criticism is not bad. I never, the connotation is in the mind of the people is like, well, I'm sorry, I speak French. So in French, when we say critique is negative. The connotation is negative. But I think that when we can be there and to be able to listen about what the other person has to say, it can really help you to grow. And I think that's very important. So it's not about whining about what you are not good at, but it's all about showing up. It's all about being out there. It's all about being seen. It's all about also being said, well, that was maybe not so good enough, but you could have done it better next time with this. I remember the first time I had to speak was in 2000, and I had to do something for GEMS, and I was like, my God, am I going to be able to do so? Because when we have this, how do you call it, the teachers talk when they arrive at a new academic year, and it's always between 1,300 and 1,800. And I was like, whoa, what am I going to speak about them? So, it's also building that courage, and the more we do, the better we come at. So it's also the people who are criticizing, they need to also see where are they. So it's always easier to point finger, but it's also important to know that, okay, are you going to give that seat to them next time? Are they as important for you there? So when we are there out, of course we are scared, and it's important to be, and we will be there with lots of self-doubt. I don't know if you're going to like my talk today. I don't know if you're going to find it interesting. Am I anxious? Yes. Am I certain about the message that I want to pass? Yes, but I know how you're going to take it. So yes, we are coming with lots of things in. So there's 3 things that she's saying that you need to be aware of. Shame. So that means that you are maybe not good enough, and it's okay. Scarcity. So is it something different that I'm giving, or is it something, am I being original? And also the comparison, because being able to be compared to, and that's fine, because I'm not pretending to be Freud or Carl Jung or whoever it is. I'm just me. And I'm just going to compare myself at every time that I'm going to talk, that I'm going to have your attention, that I'm going to be able to give you what you want, that you need in the community. That's what we are aiming at, Catherine and myself. So when we stop caring about the people, we also stop caring for connections, and that's not right. It is important that we care about what people think, because even if it's negative, it's okay. We are still looking for a connection. And that connection is very important, because if we lose that, we are going to lose to be vulnerable. And as she is the speaker about vulnerability, and that's so important. In anything that we do, it's very important to be vulnerable in order to learn, and humble I believe so much in that. So you have to take these people with you and all your shortcomings and recognize that I see you from this morning. Am I confident? No. Have I asked the school to leave an hour early? Yes. To be able to train myself, to be able to recognize that, yes, I see you. I hear that you're anxious, but this is what you can do. I did a little bit of meditation before speaking in front of you so that I would be able to deliver. Okay, so we all have this, but it's what are you going to do about it, which is what is important. So to do so, you need the clarity of your values. If your value is courage, no matter what you do, you will decide to do it and you will achieve it. Also have someone to pick you up if you are not doing so well, someone who would tell you, like for me, it would be Catherine would say, well, you know what, that was okay. Maybe it could have been better if, and I would trust her because I trust her knowledge. I trust her as a person. I know that she wants the best out of me. And this is why I know she cares for me, that her views will matter a lot to me in order to make it even better next time. So it's okay if she would say, you know what, Susie, this was really the worst of your presentation. And I would be, why? And then what you would explain to her, that's what you missed, that's what me. Well, that will help me for my next one to make it even better. Maybe I didn't sleep enough. Maybe I had a glass too much yesterday night. And then I would know the next time I shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so those criticisms are very important. So yeah, sorry, this slide shouldn't be here. It is this one, sorry. So there's a book that is really very good to read. And it is The Cactus and the Snowflake. So it's important where you are as a person. So the cacti is someone who is a thinker and will start his sentence by I think. The snowflake is more like I feel, will go with feelings everywhere. So the thinker is that he's more of a practical person, very logic, very analytic, very, four squares, not rounded, and will make facts to make the decision, or very knowing where it goes. The snowflake is more like a feeler, will listen to the others, will be very sympathetic, empathetic, will be very sensitive, very diplomatic in ways of saying things, instead of going very direct like the cacti. Now, it's important to know which one are we. Is one better than the other? I don't think so. I think in our everyday living, we are both. And we need to be both. There are times that in a certain meetings, like for today morning, there was a meeting where we had to, finally we got a parent who has had the report, the educational psychologist report, and we've been through, and I had made some points, and I said, we need this, we need it, we need this. I have called different companies. They are willing to give you a certain discount. If you go to them, they will do this. If you go to these people, they will do that. If you want further discount, please go and talk to them themselves, but we need to start. Didn't give so much space to talk, but I had to bring both of them. I do feel for you. I understand that finance can be an issue, but it's just about the best that we want for your child. And as it has been decided, it has been diagnosed that he is mild, while with all the support that we would put in, we can be on a fast recovery. Knowing that your child next year will be in year one. So, we need the mixture of both. I needed to be direct for not giving them a choice, that we needed to have an assessment done now. We lost 6 months. Finally, it's done. And then bring the snowflake to show some empathy and still get where you need to be. So that's one. Then in order for you to know, and I will leave just 2 minutes for you to know, to answer this for yourself. So, when I work with someone, what am I? Do I value their emotion connection, or I have the ability to connect with them directly? So it's A or B. When I make a decision, do I go with my gut, or I analyze the pros and cons? If I have to give someone some bad news, sorry, my spelling. So what would I do? I would try to offer. I would try to often the blow, or I would give them straight the bad news. Would I put a layer of chocolate around, or I will just give it straight ahead? And the fourth one is when you stop talking to someone. Sorry for my spelling mistake again. I won't meet them. So would I care, or I still want to, because I would like to I would like them to like me, so I will still speak to them, knowing that they would be going away or I would be going away, or I just don't care and I stop talking because I know that they're resigning and I just stop my thing. So which one is it? So if you have answered more A, you would be a snowflake. If you have answered more a B, you would be a cacti, directly to the point. So it is not what we need, as I said, it is not one better than the other, but we need the mixture of both. Okay. One of the things that they were also saying in the book, and I think I agree with this. It is, we always say, treat the others the way you want to be treated. And I don't think that it's always right. And I felt that recently, especially this year, working with my teenagers, I've learned differently. I say, please treat them the way they want to be treated. Now, this has really worked for me with my children who are having eating issues. And it has been very challenging. And it has been for each of them, I have 8 of them in school, 2 very severe. And it has been very successful for me to pay attention and think this way, that my focus was more about think about the way they would like to be treated. Just an example, this morning I had one girl, she was not doing fine, and she asked me, can I come and see you? I know that my time is not with you today. I said, well, yes, you can. And during this and that time, if you can come, I would see you. And an hour and a half after, she was at the nurse. And the nurse is calling me and say, Miss Suzie, I have so-and-so. I think you're seeing her. Is it okay to send her to you? I said, well, it's funny because I did see her this morning. And I do think why she's weak. And it may be because she's not eaten. Anyways, yeah, I do send her. It's okay. So when she came back up and we spoke, I said, what happened? Why is this again that you don't feel well? Is it something that I can do? Are you sad because of what we spoke? Are you sad because you have to do your first GCSE this year and the time is short and you feel that you're not ready? What is it? And said, no, I had to go to the nurse because I was giddy. So I said, have you taken something this morning? So I don't use the word eating. Have you taken something this morning? Not really. And I said, do you feel giddy to the point of falling? And I said, yes. So I think having more water will not help. Do you think you can manage something? And I said, I should, but I'm very afraid that if I would, and if I don't like it, that I may throw up. So all this honest conversation is coming, and I appreciate, don't judge. Am I scared? Yes. Am I afraid if she's going to make it till the end of the day? Yes, definitely. Have I rang the alarm bell? Yes, parents are aware. I've even put her on my safeguard list and everything is put in place, but the parents still believe that she's just dieting. You can see that she's lost a lot on her cheeks and all, but still parents want to give some time. Okay, cannot go against it because now it's not negligence because the parents are aware, and I've given them a name of a dietitian, a psychologist also. There is more needed to that. But, which was good, that she said, I have something in my bag. I said, where is your bag? In my class. I said, do you feel strong enough to go? Not really, because I offered something else. And he said, no, I have something in my bag. I said, okay, no worries. I'll go get it. I'll send someone. So we got her bag. She was so happy. I said, you know what? I'll put you in a room across me, have it. And when you're ready, come and call me and I'll come and sit with you. Because I know she had said in one of the sessions that she did not like someone sitting in front of her and looking at her eat. So you see how the they is important. Treat them the way what they need, not what should. What should is definitely she should see someone. She should be referred externally. She should see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and a dietitian. Okay, but I'm not going to scare her because if I do so, I may lose her. So this is what we need to be aware of. Now, also what we say is that when I speak about learn to spot the non-event, okay, and we get nervous about it. So when I say spot the non-event, meaning like, Catherine, sorry, I'm going to use as an example. Catherine loves to be on motorbike. She loves that. She likes to have her hair in the air and she would just go and nothing stops her. And she would just go, nothing will stop on her way. But the turtle passed by. I'm just the opposite. I would stop for a turtle. I would stop for a dog passing by. I would. Okay, so all these things. But it could be that, she will not get worked up on anything because she has a goal just to have fun on her motorbike and just reach where she decided to at no cost, no matter what cost. And I'm like more on the opposite. I say, oh my God, there's a turtle on the way. Okay, let me put it on the sidewalk. I'm not going to be working. And she would say, oh, what the bloody turtle was doing there. I would have made an accident there. And who's letting that dog on the way like this, on the middle of the desert like this? Don't they know that this is a place for us to enjoy or what? And, you know, so she can get worked up on something that I would just not be worked up on. So, you know, everybody has their own reason to be stressed. And her reasons are not mine, and my reasons are not her. And maybe like what Leslie, sorry, I'm going to take you, Leslie. Leslie is having an inspection. She just doesn't know when. And we all feel for that because, you know, so we can be empathizing with her, and we give her all the advice that she would need and to be successful, because that's what we are. We are sharing, we care, okay? So, but we can understand the stress that she's going through, because not knowing, expecting what the inspectors would like to see. Because sometimes we do know that our inspectors do forget that we are in UAE and not in UK, and they expect us to do the same thing as back home. So that's not possible. So what is important is the event by itself are insignificant, insignificant, sorry. So, but it becomes significant, but because of the importance we put at it. So like we would say, okay, let's say about LGBTQ today, or about boys and girls living together before they're being married. By such, doesn't matter. But it's the importance of on what if, and what if the family comes to know, and whoa, you coming out now? No, that's not happening because of the community, the society, the country that we live in, and all whatnot. Okay, so that's what's making it very negative or very stressful. So it's the importance that we give to the event that is making the event so significantly high or low. Okay. So it's a difference. That's exactly as we said here. So we all have different levels of importance about the different events. Okay, and that's so important today, and we see that a lot in our well-being, even with our parents, or even with our colleagues and our students. Sometimes they just can't. They don't know. They want to talk about something, but they don't dare to talk. So it's about taking a lot out. But when they see that we are not judgmental, and that we are so open, and that it's not marking us what they're saying, well, they'll be more and more open to share. And that's how we need to be towards ourselves. Because if we are going to be so harsh on ourselves, we let go of so many opportunities. One that I can share with you also, yeah, before I do so, also to know what triggers the bad in us. What is triggering the bad in you? Okay, for me, what triggers the bad is that, and see how I'm getting all naked in front of you about this, is that what triggers the bad in me is that I do so much in the school, and it seems that nobody notices. I know that they notice, and I know that they care, because they're on what I do. They're sending me mails, they're asking me, they're coming, asking me to do things, or intervention, or helping to speak to the parents, or to their team of teachers. So I know that it is a give and take, and there is a relationship there. That sometimes, and I'm the only counselor in a school of 2,800, I'd like someone to say that, hey, Susie, are you okay? Oh, hey, Susie, good job there. You know, everybody would want that. So 2 times or 3 times a year it happens, because people talk to you all the time. They don't see that you have a referral system, or you have to have the consent form and all whatnot. They say, hey, I have a problem. I have a problem. Can you see so-and-so directly? So that creates the bad in me, because at the end, I want to say yes to everybody, but it is impossible to do your best for everybody, because you have so much in. Plus, you have your own timetable to finish. So it's a lot. So at that time, that creates bad. And I've voiced that. It's getting better. I've voiced that this is creating a bad Susie, and it's getting me in the red. And when I'm in the red, I do put a red thing on me, where people do know, okay, we need to leave Susie. She's in a bad mood now. So they don't approach me. So that has been really put in place. And also, the temperament that you have will influence your actions. So we do not know in advance. So what happens is your temperament will influence your actions, and they don't dictate them. So it's very important to know in which temperament you are. So knowing your personality type is very important, because that will help you to embrace the attributes, and also to achieve much bigger in your workplace. So when I was saying about myself, it's about knowing your limits and knowing what you want to do and knowing what's the best for you. Well, I've said, yes, I would lead the GEMS network, leading of the GEMS counseling network, not a problem at all. But wanting to work at the head office with that, no, because I knew and I know that I want to be with students. I want to be in a school environment. That's where I would do best for me. So helping my colleagues at that, not a problem at all, but just knowing your limits is very important. With that, also, not forget that you are writing your own story. So what's your story? What is your story? Okay, what is your story? Because you are the one writing it yourself. People will come on your way, but it's not them writing it for you. So before we point fingers at others, they are going to be with you to write your stories. They would be there on your way. There may be half a chapter of one of your chapters in your book, but they are not the people. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Susie. I think probably everyone can relate to that. I know one of the biggest things that affects my mood, is if I'm hungry or tired. And it really dictates, like, guys, if I get really cross, especially while I'm driving, I have to think, okay, am I hungry? Because that's usually one of the biggest contributors. Does anybody have any questions, guys? We don't have any questions in the chat. I think that was a really robust, I think we covered everything that we could want to know. It was really awesome, as always.
The books I can really suggest you, it's really, really very good, very easily read, and Dare to Lead has been spoken so much. Also, if you are trying to change any kind of habit, one of the book is called, I don't know the author anymore, Atomic Habit. It's also very good because, you know, when we keep on doing the same thing over and over again, you create the same kind of habits. And if you want to change your direction, you need to take new venues. And in order to get to the new venues, to create new results, well, you have to change completely. And it helps you to change slowly in order to get to the results that you want. So it makes a lot of sense. So those connections. So Atomic Habit, this one, Cactus and Snowflake, and the third one is about Brené Brown, Dare to Lead.
I wonder, I put your LinkedIn profile on the chat, Susie, for people to follow you and me. Will we post those books on our LinkedIn so that people, if you follow us, the profiles are on the chat, everyone.
I will do so.
And Susie will. I'll just post them again now. So you guys can see what those books, how to link to the books. That's useful. Super. Okay, thank you everyone so much. As always, our recordings will be on the YouTube channel. Again, I put the link in the chat. And all of our recordings historically from, when did we start this, Susie? About what, 3 years ago now?
3 years.
Yeah, all of the forum recordings are there. So it's a huge resource of expertise and skills because we've had some really amazing speakers joining us and they're all there. So if you want to learn about emotional regulation, we've had people talking about addiction, about everything to do with inclusion and well-being. They're all there and it's all free, open to everyone. Anyone can access it. So please do check out the YouTube channel and share it, particularly with your schools, because we don't have enough support in inclusion and well-being, especially in this region. There's not enough. Yes, Suzie.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that as this is my last talk, because next month will be yours, if you have any specific topic that you would like on, if you have something that you would be interested in, this is the time to send us, because then we can prepare our program for next year. I can get you some speakers or anything, or we have at least the summer to work towards, because, you know, we are all working in the well-being, but we have so many things to cover, and sometimes we just feel that, oh, I'm not very good with anger management, or I'm not very good about eating disorders or whatever, and we can give those things. So if anything that you would need or any topic of your interest, don't hesitate to share. And with that, I would say a very big thank you for attending my sessions this year, and looking forward to see you next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And our next forum will be on the first Monday of the month, next month in June, back to our regular timing. And that's going to be our last one for this academic year. So please do spread the word. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely afternoon. Thanks so much, Susie.
Bye.
Masalama. Bye.